What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for yet another Tottenham update. Quite a few bits and pieces to get through today. So let's start off talking about a potential transfer incoming. And that is that name, Conor Gallagher. Once again, the 90-minute reporting that Tottenham are leading the competition to sign Conor Gallagher despite interest from Bayern Munich. Chelsea are keen to extend his contract beyond 2025, but talks between the parties have not progressed recently. I find this hard to believe with him taking the captain's armband in recent weeks and performing fairly well, to be honest, as well. So I kind of see this one as a non-starter, to be honest.
Yeah, I think we've missed the boat. I think there was potentially an opportunity in the summer if Chelsea were open to it, but he's now become ingrained in as part of what Chelsea are doing. Obviously, he's been captain for most of the games this season as well. He's been performing fairly well. I can't see Chelsea letting him go to rival. And he himself, would he want to come to Spurs, captaining his boyhood team? He's a Chelsea fan. Is he going to want to come to Tottenham in January? Maybe it's something in the summer if he's really not getting game time, you can revisit, but I don't think January's a starter.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, in January, you're looking at the likes of Nkunku coming back, and maybe after Nkunku is fully back from his injury and you see a midfield of like Enzo, Caicedo and Nkunku as the three, maybe by the end of the season, I think you're right, he might find first team football hard to come by. But then again, next season when they're back, if they are back in Europe and stuff like that with a lot more football to be played, they'll probably want to keep him around.
Yeah, you would think so.
Next up, let's talk about Heung-min Son, as Jurgen Klinsmann says he will not rest Sonny for the South Korea's upcoming games. And the quote is, "It's natural for European players to feel fatigued. It will be difficult to adjust to the time difference. Son Heung-min will be less tired as he doesn't play in European competition." I don't really think it's to do with that. I think it's to do with Jurgen Klinsmann is kind of on the brink of a sacking, apparently, as South Korea manager. And if you are on the brink, there's one player to turn to, and that's Heung-min Son if you're South Korea manager.
If he's available, they're going to play him. He's their talisman. He's like the biggest, he's a very big deal in South Korea. I can't see him being in the squad and then not being picked and being rested. He's that important to them. And he will feel that sense of responsibility for South Korea as well. We've seen before, even for Spurs, if he's injured, he'll play through the pain to support the team. So unfortunately, as much as Spurs fans want to see him rested, and we know that he's struggling with a groin problem right now, and he did come through, it seemed, the Luton game unscathed, albeit he did come off like 15 minutes early. I don't see South Korea taking this opportunity to rest him. If he's available, they'll play him. That's just reality.
The most frustrating thing about it is they've got two games in this international break, one against Tunisia, one against Vietnam, and they're both friendlies.
Doesn't matter.
That's the frustrating thing about it.
I know. Maybe
if they were like qualifiers for like World Cup or Asian Cup or anything like that, then I could kind of see the logic. But seeing as they are friendlies, like surely just like do what's best for the player.
Maybe it'll be a case of he can be taken off early. What's good about Ange so far is he's been managing him. He hasn't been training every day because he's been managing this groin problem, and so he can be available on the weekends. He's been taking him off fairly early in games so far. 76th minute on the weekend, took him off in the 70th minute against Liverpool, took him off fairly early against Arsenal as well. So let's hope South Korea will follow suit and they'll try and think of what's best for the player. Mm-hmm. I don't expect him not to start. I'm expecting him to start both games, but hopefully if they do start him, they can manage him.
Yeah,
that's all I'm expecting.
Let's hope so. And I guess like Spurs don't really have a leg to stand on saying don't play him when we're starting him every game.
Exactly. So can't really expect them not to.
Let's talk about a few quotes on certain players, starting off with quotes from Destiny Udogie and Mickey van der Ven on Cuti Romero. And Destiny says, "I think Cuti is a real leader. You feel real safe with Cuti, and he shows this every day in training and in the games and helps us a lot. 2 months into the vice captaincy, Cuti is already displaying immaculate leadership across the squad." And Mickey van der Ven says, "Amazing player, unbelievable player, defensively so strong with the ball, so strong. He keeps talking. For me, an amazing player." And it's something that we've been speaking about the last couple of weeks, and especially after the game against Luton, you're really seeing those leadership qualities showing on the pitch now.
Yeah, and he seems to have even more confidence, especially after that World Cup win. And look, he's the most experienced head in that back line. Amazing to think. He's 24, 25, and everyone thought, you need maybe an experienced head next to him to control him, but we've given him that more responsibility of that vice captaincy, and he's really taken it with both hands. And I think he feels that sense of responsibility for the back line. He can't get himself involved in stupid arguments and stupid yellows and all this kind of stuff. He seems to have taken his game up a notch. And when you are that leader in the back line and you are that experienced head, you need to be able to communicate very effectively with the rest of the back four. You need to be able to make sure that they feel calm with you and they feel assured when you're next to them, and they feel assured that you're not going to be giving away these stupid bookings. And it's hard when you're doing stupid things on the pitch, like maybe he was doing last season, to have that sense of authority. But I think maybe the fact that he's been given that responsibility of that vice captaincy has given him that more responsibility with the rest of the back line, just to assure them as well. And I think it's taken his game up tenfold.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. And you're really seeing that week in, week out now from Cuti Romero. More quotes, this time from Pape Matar on Yves Bissouma. And Sarr says that Yves is a good person. He's always supported me and always given me advice. We both come from Africa. He's my big brother, and I can't ever pay him back. Honestly, it's incredible what he does for me. So some really nice quotes there from Pape.
Yeah, it's fantastic to hear. And we've seen the impact Bissouma's been having this season in terms of squad morale, and he's really giving great energy to the squad, isn't he? We've seen that as soon as pre-season. We know what he did on the weekend was really bad, and hopefully he'll learn from that. It's important to note, if you don't know already, in terms of his suspension-wise, he was on 4 yellow cards going into the Luton game, and albeit he did get 2 yellow cards in that game, that 2 yellow cards turns into a red card, and it's as if he didn't get any yellow cards. So he is going to go, he'll serve a 1-match suspension, and he'll go back to 4 yellow cards after that 1-match suspension has been served. So once he comes back against Palace, he'll be back on 4, which is a bit annoying, but that's the reality of the situation he's put himself in. But I'm glad that he's really helping Pape Matar. I think you can see it on the pitch. They help each other a lot, don't they? So it's no surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last quote we got is from James Maddison on Big Ange Postecoglou, and he says, he's a great man. Aside from being a football coach, he's a good man. He has this way about him, and where you want to go and play for him, the lads are really buying into this way. I know it sounds cliche, but he's a manager that you would run through a brick wall for. He gets you feeling that type of way. So, I mean, we did hear kind of things about Mourinho and Conte, the kind of aura that they have about them. Like players in the past have said you want to run through a brick wall for him, but I think Ange is just the most perfect man for Spurs and the players that we do have, and I think it's completely right. You're seeing that on the pitch, like players just willing to work as hard as they possibly can for this guy.
I think the difference between Ange and Mourinho and Conte is, I think Conte and Mourinho instilled that culture very early on, and I think a lot of players were buying into it. But once the results started to fall by the wayside, and we weren't maybe getting results that we should have gotten, and players were making mistakes defensively, they would be hammering them on those mistakes. And because we were so defensively focused, any single defensive mistake was zeroed in on, and it would cause a lot of friction, I believe, between the players and the manager, where he's constantly bashing them for mistakes they're making on the pitch, and they weren't real. And the players as well wanted to play maybe a bit more of an attacking style of football. There was mentions about how the players wanted to push up the pitch and be more offensive, and the manager would, have other ideas, and that would maybe cause friction. Whereas Ange has definitely come in with a philosophy like, look, if you make mistakes, that's on me, that's not on you, because I want you to play this certain brand of football. And yes, there are going to be mistakes, and yes, things bad will happen, but because of the way we play, we can overcome that, and we can learn from that. And that is maybe instilling a different kind of relationship between the manager and the players, where the manager can take responsibility for those mistakes rather than blaming the players. So I think that's the key difference.
Yeah, and it creates more of a family feel, doesn't it, when the manager's taking the responsibility for the decisions that he makes and gets the players to do. So I think it's working in all facets. It'll be interesting to see when things don't go well, how the players respond, how the manager responds, how the leadership of Heung-min Son responds as well. But right now we have no kind of evidence to that, because it's all gone so well since Ange has taken the post. So I guess watch this space, but I think everyone is absolutely delighted with the way things are going at the moment, from top to bottom. So let's talking about things, how things are going well. Let's look at the stats behind how Spurs are doing this season. Spurs have now made their best ever start to a top flight season since 60-61 season when we won the double. And in terms of XG, Spurs non-penalty XG, Spurs lead the Premier League with 16.95, the second in Brighton, third Liverpool, fourth Newcastle, fifth Villa, sixth Chelsea, seventh is Everton, and eighth City, ninth Arsenal, and 10th is West Ham. And in terms of stats that we're currently topping in the Premier League, it's a long list, so beware. We've got save rate by the goalkeeper, 82.9%, where we're top. Shots, we've had the most shots in the Premier League, which is 152. Shots on target, 56. Non-penalty XG, which is 15, which is actually a bit different to the stat I just read out. So I'll have to see which one is absolutely correct. Maybe you can do a quick search on that one.
Depends. I think different sites have different XGs. So
fair enough. Expected assists is 12.2. No, what's XAG? Expected
goals against, maybe
AG.
No, it's expected assists.
Well, XA is expected
assist of goals. I think it's
okay. Well, they're very similar anyway. Yeah. One's 12.6, one's 12.7. Key passes, we're top on 117. Passes inside the box, we're first on 108. Progressive passes, we're first for 461. Dead balls, 404. Free kicks, 130. Shot creating actions, we are top with 269. Tackles, 101. Final third touches, 1,772. Touches inside the box, 324. Dribbles, 209. Distance carried is 20,777. Progressive carries, 228. Carries inside the box is 87. Trust me, we're nearly finished, don't worry. Fouls is 106 and yellow cards at 29. So we're first for all of those metrics in the Premier League so far this season. So would it be safe to say that we're deserving of our top spot?
I think we've probably been the best team in the Premier League so far of the first 8 games. I think in terms of performance-wise, when you're matching that with the results, I don't think we're there by luck. I think we've performed extremely well and deserve to be there. I do want to give a big caveat: the fact that I'm not saying we've had a really easy start to the season, but we have played the current bottom 4 in the league: Sheffield United, Burnley, Luton, and Bournemouth, who are currently sitting in the bottom 4. So that context obviously has to be added when you're looking at those stats, but you can only play what's in front of you, and
we've also played Liverpool, Arsenal, and Manchester United.
Exactly. I'm not saying you have to throw away. I'm just saying there is context there. We have played the bottom 4 teams, so we are going to have probably more attacks in those games. But obviously, we've played Arsenal, we've played Liverpool, we've played Man United. There aren't easy games, and we've played really good performances in those games as well. There will be tough tests to come when we play some of the middle of the table teams as well. But we're going really, really well at the moment, and I think those stats are an indication how we're performing and how well Ange has got us going so quickly as well after 8 games, considering he's only just joined and he's only been in the job a few months. It's really astounding, and I couldn't be happier with how the season has gone so far and how we're playing. And I think it's a good indication of how we're going to be playing going forward. I hope so. Anyway, let's just hope we stay injury free, because I do think injuries could really impact this team and how it's functioning. But right now, we're playing extremely well, and we're looking hard to stop.
In a month's time, we've got another international break, the November one, which will be the last one for a good few months after that. I think until March or April time. Do you think we're still going to be top of the league by the next time the next international break comes?
Who do we have? Fulham, Palace, and Chelsea.
And Villa, I think. I'm not sure if Villa's before or after.
I do expect us to drop points somewhere in there. I don't think we're going to win our next 4 games. Villa. No, it's Wolves away. Wolves away, and then Villa's just after the international break. I think you got to look. I said 2 points out of Arsenal and Liverpool. We got 4, so don't want to underestimate it. But I do expect one of those games, like against Palace or Wolves. I wouldn't be surprised if we drop points in one of those games. Look, Wolves just got a draw against Villa. They just beat Man City. That's not going to be an easy game. Even the home games, Chelsea getting their act together a bit. Fulham, we struggled against earlier in the season, albeit we rested a lot of players, but they have their way of playing as well. I'm not saying we're going to struggle in all games, but I would say if we could aim for 8 points out of those 4 games, I think that'll be a pretty respectable total. 8? Yeah, 8. 2 wins, 2 draws. Look, you've got to keep your foot on the ground. I don't think you can expect 4 wins out of the next 4. Obviously, that'll be amazing, but if we can get 8 points out of that, I think that's still really good going.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see at least 10. I want to see 10 points.
I would look.
Three wins and a draw.
If we get 10 points, I'd be absolutely over the moon. If we can get 10 points out of those 4. But I'm expecting 8.
But does 8 points keep us top, do you reckon?
I don't know who the other teams have. Arsenal go to Chelsea, then they got Sheffield United, then they got Newcastle, and then Burnley. So I can see maybe a drop points in 1 or 2 of those games, to be fair. Man City have Brighton, and then they got Brighton, then they have Man United, and then they have Bournemouth, and then they have Chelsea. So, look, the other teams could definitely drop points in those games as well. I think 8 points might be enough to keep us top.
Well, 10 points incoming, people. 10 points incoming. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories we've brought to you today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you...